Hello from the Yarn Closet in Southern Arizona. My name is Laura. I recorded this podcast twice yesterday and I looked fabulous. Had a little makeup on, my hair was done, we were going to a little family reunion. I recorded twice. It didn't record at all the first time, and the second time was actually because I got interrupted, was supposed to be an add-on to that, like I was going to combine the two. Didn't work at all. Because then I realized I didn't have the first part. So here we are. Take 3 on a different day. The lighting is not as good. I can't see you. I'm legally blind. Okay, I can't see. Whoa, that explains it all right there. And I can't figure out where my camera is on this new phone. But I can't see you. I think my light's okay, but I know it's not great. And I know if I turn on the light overhead, that doesn't help. Here, let's try this one. That doesn't seem to be doing much anymore. Do we need new batteries in this? Yep, we need new batteries. Okay. I will hopefully be getting some a week from Monday. And I hope that the sound is okay because I have my earbuds in. I don't know if that affects it. Let me try to recap. So I was supposed to get a haircut on Friday night. I did not get one. She had to cancel and reschedule for this next Tuesday. Of course, right now I'm thinking, it's not that bad. And my husband is leaving on Thursday to go on an elk hunt with his nephew. So maybe I'll push the haircut back until my parents can take me, because he's preoccupied and doesn't like taking me places anyway. But my daughter would enjoy having the opportunity to go out with him and get a Frosty. So we'll see. What's been going on in your life? What's been going on in my life? My life is always the same. It's like school recap. When we're not in school, I want to be in school. My middle son, who graduated last year, he's doing some stuff. He's doing a lot of housework. I don't think he's enjoying that a bunch. At the family reunion, he ended up watching a bunch of the school-age kids. And then we ended up talking about him being a paraprofessional at school once he turns 18. And he's seriously considering that because, number one, Dad already drives in. We'd all start at the same time and we'd all end at the same time. So he wouldn't have to drive. The driving is already handled right now. And then later on, potentially, he could do the driving. If he got the job, he could do the driving of the 3 of us in, and Dad wouldn't have to do it at all. Does it freak me out to have both of my children and myself at a school because of school shootings? Absolutely. I just recently went through that training. The training has changed dramatically in the last 7 years. It's ridiculous. But on the other hand, we have to live life. And you can't be afraid of life. I'm a blind person. I could more easily be hit by a car than anybody else. So we have to just go on and live life. And if it's something that he could feel good about, absolutely. Absolutely 100% do it. Um, I think it would give him so much pride. It would be very hard. But there was a boy last year who started after he turned 18, and he had a rocky start to things, but he's doing really good this year. And if my son was able to do like preschool or kindergarten, where they're really kind of in their own little world with the little ones, I think he'd be fine. I think he'd be good. He's got a patience and a desire to connect that I think the little kids respect. Now, he's not prepared for some of the special needs little kids that we have nowadays that are very difficult. But I don't know what to tell you. You got to live life, and you can't be afraid of perceived failure, because just because you're fired from a job doesn't mean you failed. It was not the right fit for you. Move on, go to the next thing. That is not the way I was raised. And it has taken me 54 years to get to a point where I've let drop a lot of the things that really caused me to have a life that wasn't the life I wanted to have. And I'm just trying really hard to raise my kids to understand that life is life. It's not as big of a deal. I let her yesterday go run around in water park just in her t-shirt and jeans and stuff and get everything soaking wet. That is not who I was a few years ago. Some of the moms were driving over to Walmart and buying water stuff. Like, I just don't think I'm easier going now, because I was raised to believe in this litany of rules that aren't real. And I was raised to believe that people give a shit about you when they don't. Very few people in your life actually care. Very few people in your life actually notice that you have worn the same 4 outfits almost exactly on the same days for the last 3 weeks. Like, I could literally pare down my wardrobe to next to nothing and be just fine. People don't notice. They don't care. They are too busy in their own world. It was fun to see a couple kids from school that we're distantly related to, but I was sad because I was hoping for more. We were hoping for it to be bigger. They were really surprised at how small it was, like less than 40 people small. To the point where when they used to do these things, it was 300. So this was the knitting bag I brought with me. It's an old Fat Squirrel bag. I like these more, it's not the sock sack, it's one of the bigger sizes, but I like them because they're lightweight enough, but well-made enough that you can put it around your wrist and still knit while you've got some other stuff in it. You have not experienced, that was not an earthquake. It felt like one, but it was not. That was a culmination of me moving and a cat outside jumping on, trying to jump up on the window. Because it can hear me in here. Anyway, oh no, look what I did. These straps have hooks, so you can take them off and use them for other things, which I sometimes do. But I was able to walk around and knit and walk around with my bag that has a very heavy kid's EpiPen in it, although my daughter takes more of an adult size now because she's adult size, and some Benadryl and ibuprofen. Here's a trick they don't really tell you. If your kid has allergies, but not necessarily anaphylaxis, Benadryl with an ibuprofen will help, and a lot more than just Benadryl alone. Just one is enough with that Benadryl to help a lot of those other symptoms. And don't forget that some people's allergic reactions can start with just a bad stomach. And the Benadryl will help ease that also, especially if it's from an allergic reaction, which I found out recently I had because I have an allergy to anise, which they knew as a child, but nobody ever told me about it. And so whenever I had black licorice, I would get a bad stomach, and sometimes I would get a flushed face. Well, when I was an adult, at one point, I blew up so bad that my eyes were slits and I couldn't get my shoes on. I had to put my husband's on, and those barely fit in his sweatpants because like my whole body. And at the time, we weren't sure if it was the formaldehyde because I'd done a college dissection class, or the fact that we'd slept on a moldy mattress in my sister-in-law's house. And I know I have some mold issues. So we weren't sure if it was just a culmination of that, but it turns out it was the 2 anise cookies that I had at the neighbor's house. And it was super bad. Well, now I know. And so I'm not eating that again. Putting that on the list. But see, yes, it's big. Yes, there's some weight to it. And there's a lot more weight because I still have all that stuff in here. But it's still working just fine. And it's not zipping itself completely shut. It's still open enough that it's not snagging. If I'm sitting, I can put it on my lap. Because of my blindness, I can also fit one of my lightweight foldable canes in here, which I had yesterday. But because of my blindness, I try to have closed bags with me or like no bag. Because there have been times in my past where people have come up to me and said, somebody's following you and they're trying to get into your bag because your bag doesn't close entirely. Your purse, your big lady purse. So I try not to do that. I try to have most of the stuff that I take in public be closable, but it is what it is. And so this worked really well. And it was fun. We took a ride a few times yesterday. The interruption was we went dog hunting. A few weeks ago, it's been for the last month or so on our little neighborhood chat, there have been these dogs. It's a pack of 4 or 5 dogs. And they're very, very nice. One of them has had puppies. We didn't know if they were dumped. We didn't know what the deal was. One of them has a collar. But because we live in the country and people's animals get out, you kind of err on the side of, go back to the neighbor you belong to. Well, then we find out after weeks of this that everybody's shooing them off and they're getting skinnier and skinnier, and we're thinking, are they dumped? Because people dump a lot in our neighborhood. So for a while we were thinking they were dumped. Then we found out and confirmed yesterday that they're from a house where recently there was a drug raid by the police and some people were arrested. We thought the house was empty. So when we got notice from a neighbor, we ran over to near the house because she had seen these dogs out again. Because I have vetting lined up for them and a rescue and the whole 9 yards. Because we no longer have a city pound shelter or dog person. And the neighboring so I live in a city that has 3 different counties in it. The majority county for my city will not come to my house or my area to get dogs because they're not the same county as I am. The county that I am in, which is from Tucson area, they won't come either. Because they're like, you need your city to deal with it. Well, my city no longer has those services. So who's going to step in? Nobody's going to step in. Neither one of the counties will pointedly not take my dogs. If I bring dogs in to their pound to turn in, they will not take them because of my address on my ID card. The pound from the county I am in is giving away animals and euthanizing hundreds a day. So they don't want the dogs either. And I don't really want to give them to them if they're just going to get euthanized. So then I've been trying to find shelters. Well, the shelters are overrun and nobody's got funds. So if I can get the animals, I do have a local shelter that, although I may have to get my stepdad to help with taking them in for vetting and stuff, and we'd have to keep them in our home while they recover, they would hopefully get new homes for them. But then yesterday we go over, and these dogs run back to this property where these arrests were taken, and they go under this house. And there's somebody there. And so we go back numerous times yesterday. Well, all of a sudden now there's a bunch of people over there again. A very elderly person, like in their 80s, who we think is the actual property owner. And so we're not sure if people are moving in, if they're cleaning out from the other people. We don't know what's going on, but we're not taking animals from a property if they belong there. But we still don't think they're getting cared for there. We think they were of these renter people who got arrested. But, this is now something we're just watching, and we're going to kind of see what happens. My husband's a little bit ornery about the whole thing, and then a lot of bit ornery, and then sometimes supportive. I don't want to live out in the country anymore. I'm over it. We didn't get what we wanted to by living here. It's been a financial detriment. It's been a physical detriment. And I don't want to live here anymore. But if we're going to live here and you're going to make me live here, then we're going to be a part of this community. And that is what this community is. This community is dumped animals. This community is farm animals that get out. This community is, you can't just do the ones that are fun for you. All of us live here. So we're going to see how this goes. And hopefully we can make a difference, because prayer without works is dead. I don't believe you need good works to get into heaven. But I do believe that if you propose or say that you are any kind of a Christian, you have to have works associated with your prayers or they're dead. You can't just wish your neighbors well. You have to do things to help them be well. You can't just say you're so sad for these animals. You have to do things to help them. I don't believe that you can stand up in any kind of public forum and say that you're a Christian, and yet you're not going to use whatever influence you have or power you have to help in a situation where someone else is struggling. It's great that you are sad about it and you pray about it, but you need to do something also. And if you have the power to, you should. And that's my little soapbox comment. So I did also this last week give out that blanket to the retiree from school. It was a man, so he was like, oh, okay, cool. But I do think he appreciates it. And then the lady that I was giving the hat and the gloves to was gone the day that I put them in her room. So I will see her next Tuesday, and we'll see what kind of a reaction she has. Hopefully she's happy. I've started a new hat. I'm using the 4mm to do the ribbing like I did with the last hat, and I did 4 additional stitches from the last hat. Now the last hat was a superwash merino with, you know, when it's a sock merino and it's got that extra stretchiness stuff in it, the polyamide or the whatever. Okay, this yarn has the same exact content. But look at how much tighter this hat is going on. So this is why you can't just believe your yarn contents. Each hat will be different. So I'm glad I made it a little bit bigger because it's tighter. It will stretch out, but that just goes to show you that if you look back, the last hat, same yarn content supposedly on the label, but it was far stretchier and same needles. Now I am doing the 4.5 with this upper part, and I'm fine with how it's turning out. I've made a couple of errors throughout, but this is for me. I mean, there was one point where I got totally off on my ribbing. So in a couple spots, my 2x2 is 4x2. But it's for me, so if I keep it, it shouldn't be a problem. And I will probably keep it because I'm going on that trip in October to somewhere that might be cold. It's cooling down a bit here. It's monsooning, so I've got headaches going on again. One thing I didn't mind about the drought for me. But we're not dropping much in the nighttime temps. It's really frustrating to still be at 65, 67 in the overnight because I find it hard to sleep. I've had to cut our air conditioning numbers down because it's a little bit cooler during the day. And honestly, you got to save money everywhere you can. So there's that. And so, so I ordered that Mama in Stitches Lion Brand blanket thing. I believe it's 2 different colors of mandala yarn. So those are variegateds. And it is in a linen stitch. And you do 2 rows of a linen stitch, and then you change colors to 2 rows of the next linen stitch. Well, here's the thing. Linen moss seed stitch. Yeah, there's differences. This is seed stitch. I love seed stitch. I find seed stitch to be very easy, keeps me entertained, it grows fast. So then I started practicing the linen stitch. Do you see how the linen stitch is different? Like the seed stitch is the same front and back, and the linen stitch is different. I also do my linen stitch much more like I'm tight. That's why I'm practicing. But I'm not finding I'm not remembering the pattern as easily as the seed stitch. So when I get the pattern, I'm gonna start it on the linen stitch. I'm gonna try, and it's gonna be with these needles exactly. But if it doesn't go well, I may end up doing it just in seed stitch and see how that works. I know, I'm so racy. That's so crazy. But yeah. So I'm practicing. I do swatch, I do practice stuff. So I'm gonna do more of that today. My ex is bringing his dogs for probably about an hour and a half. He takes my son out for breakfast or lunch every few weeks. Our son, all of our son, whatevs. I don't care how you say it. I'm not trying to exclude anyone. And I'm very appreciative. My son's ARFID has improved dramatically since his dad got in the picture, and because he takes him out to eat a lot. You know, he doesn't have other children or other people. He has the money for eating out a lot. We made chili this week, and my son ate chili and said he would eat it on a regular basis if we made it without beans. So we're gonna start making chili without beans and chili with beans, especially throughout the winter. That'll be like one of our new additions. My daughter doesn't eat it, but my son does. So Oddly enough, he does like spicy food. So this is the back side. So I think I do 2 purls and then I do 2 purls and then I do a purl with yarn in the back, and then I do a regular purl, and then I do a slip stitch, like I slip it off the needles with the yarn in the back, and then I do a purl, and then I slip it off the needles with the yarn in the back, and then I do a purl. And when I'm doing this, I keep everything so tight to the needle. That's why it ends up being so much tighter. I don't want it to be that tight. I want it to be looser. So how do we go about getting it looser? Gotta think about it as I do it. Looser, looser, looser. And so there's a lot more thinking about this one, which is fine. I mean, that's why I started knitting. People ask me, especially in the last couple of years, because I've been crocheting so many blankets. But I've also knit a lot of things in the last few years, and people just forget that. I started knitting because I needed something that I could do that was different so that it didn't stress my neck as much, because I have frozen shoulder and some neck issues. I've got ankylosing spondylitis in my neck and my lower back, and that's where your vertebrae fuse. And so I just needed to do something, because a lot of crocheting it's just wrong. And I have taken workshop after workshop about body mechanics. I was a massage therapist for a number of years. Like, I've never been able to get it where it doesn't cause me problems with my neck. So that's why I'm constantly going back and forth from crochet to knitting. And oh, that was maybe better. Let's try that. That was maybe better. So I think I just have to get in the habit through practice of doing these in a looser way. And people are like, well, how do you do that? You pull up more on your stitch. And then I think I end with 2 purls. So then the next one, I believe, is knit 1. And then you slip a stitch off with the yarn in front. Then you knit 1. So I'm knitting 1, and then I'm pulling it bigger here. With the yarn in front, I am purlwise taking it off. Then I'm knitting, and I'm pulling a bigger loop. Yarn in front, purlwise, pulling it off, knit 1, pull it bigger, yarn in front, purlwise, pulling it off, then knit 1, yarn bigger, yarn in front, purlwise, pulling it off, knit 1, yarn bigger, pulling it off, yarn in the front, knit 1, pull bigger, in the front, purlwise, pull it off, knit 1, yarn bigger. I think the problem is actually where I'm slipping it off the needles. If that stitch is tight, then it stays tight and it's harder to get it loose. So I have to get my knits or purls done looser so that in the next round, when I'm just pulling those off the needle, those are looser. Am I making myself clear? No? Okay. Whatever. Because you are slipping off like every other stitch in every row and not working it. And so if when you did work that stitch in the previous row, it wasn't loose enough, then that is going to be too tight. So, and here is a very good indication of same number of stitches, seed stitch, and how much tighter it pulls in when you're doing the linen because you're slipping every other stitch. It's similar to the mosaic two-color knitting. Similar, absolutely similar. And so I got to work on it. I'm not convinced I love it because I'm not convinced I love the look of the stitch either, but I'm thinking like if I got it loose enough, would I like it? Because part of what I don't like about it is that it's so tight. Other people who can do it and do it much more loosely, it seems I like the look of it better because you can see the V's and you can see the bars. And when you do a variegated, look up Mama in Stitches, her blog. And because you can actually get the pattern right on her blog for free. You just have to go through all the muck. And if you look back in the community tab, I've got a picture of what it looks like. But honestly, if I really can't get it together enough in the next couple of weeks, then I will probably do the blanket and seed stitch and see how that works. I currently don't have any variegateds that I can work to see if I like the look of it. So I will just have to try when I get the yarn. And it's 2 rows of one color, and then you switch and you carry the yarn up the side. So now because it's knit flat, I'm slightly confused. Does 2 rows count as right side, wrong side? Or 2 right sides and 2 wrong sides? You need to weigh in on that for me. Or maybe in the printed pattern, it will be in there more clearly to me, because when I'm legally blind and I've got to go fish through information, it can be a little daunting, so I don't always get the right information. I make mistakes, but sometimes mistakes are beautiful. And so I hope you have a lovely week. I'm glad that take 3 worked. I hope it's getting cooler where you are. Have a lovely day. Look with your heart first. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for liking. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for emailing. Also, thank you for being my free subscribers over on Patreon and some of my paid ones, because it is still those few people who've been paying for years that keep me going and are helping with things like camera, lighting, sound. So keep that in mind. Love y'all. See you next week.